Hey guys, Benjamin Hume here. So today this is going to be a quick demonstration of an example of how to make an embedded report macro. And also at the end, it's going to be the first phase is going to be we'll make an embedded report. Second phase will be making the embedded report macro, and the third phase will be making a button on the EPLAN interface to use this embedded report macro. And so a question can come up here. Okay, why should we make an embedded report? Why should we make an embedded report macro with a button? And there's two possible scenarios I can think of. One, if you've worked in the food and pharma industry, you can have what's called an instrument drawing, and it's typical that an instrument drawing on one side would have an instrument with the connections. On the other side of the drawing, there would be an embedded report there with perhaps a name, a short description, type, and perhaps a comment field. Okay, the other scenario would be it's not the primary function of the report, but useful, in my opinion and experience, it's useful of the reports in EPLAN because they're automatic and get updated according to what's being drawn on the page. Is that if you're working on a project and you're working on a page and you draw a few circuits on a page, then you can put in this embedded report onto the page, and as soon as the embedded report is placed, it will detect what you've drawn and what part information is connected to, and display it as you've configured it in the report on the page. So this way, maybe you draw for an hour or two, and then put the embedded report on the page, and the names of the items that you've drawn pop up along with the description, maybe the part information, whatever. So that's the second scenario of why this could be useful too. So all right, that's enough talking now. So let's get into it now. All right, so first thing we're going to do is get this embedded report in here. And as we can see on the page, this is just a standard project. It was made from the IEC template. And we just have a standard macro from the ESS macro library. Comes with the installation. So we have that on the page. It doesn't really matter about the content. It's just an example circuit here, some part information attached to it. Okay, so if we want to get to this embedded report, we go to Tools, we go to Generate, and then we have this first tab, Reports. So just pay attention that there's templates and reports at the top. Typically, you use templates as those are the ones that are automatically generated within a project. But in this case, we're going to go to the report side, which is kind of for single use of reports, among other things. And we're going to press plus. And what we're going to do is go to, instead of page, we're going to take manual placement because we're going to manually place this report on the page. In this example, we'll take the device tag list and we will select current page as the only thing we want to report is what's being drawn on the current page. Okay, and I'm going to press OK. In the beginning, I'm not going to choose any filters or anything like that in the beginning. And I think a general rule of thumb when making reports and making kind of anything in EPLAN, I mean, you can probably compare this to just the design process in general, is to make it as simple as possible, just step by step until you get things working. No difference here, actually. So then we're going to go here and we're going to take the form and go to Browse, and we're going to I'm going to take this second form. See, the first one is static. I don't want the static form. I want the dynamic form. Of course, you can choose how you wish, but in this example, I'm going to take the dynamic form. I'm going to right click and I'm going to rename it. And I will just call it embedded report. Okay, and we'll choose that. Press open, and we're going to place that on the page here. Okay, so there we go. And as we can see, it's reporting what's on the page. We don't have any other information yet, but that's there. So I don't like how big this is though. So let's go ahead and we'll go to master data, and then we will go to form, and we'll go to open. And after we've edited this, it's going to show up when we update the report. So we'll open that up. And as I mentioned in the intro here, it's kind of a typical example would be an instrument report for an instrument drawing. So we're going to take that in this example. I'm going to get away that device tag list away. It'll be obvious it's an instrument drawing if that's what you're making. For me, I like to make the name of the form invisible because I'm a fan of using the functionality in EPLAN. You have this invisible text so that you can put information in the project. It's just for those in the design team who are working with EPLAN, because you can usually only see the invisible text within EPLAN unless you change the settings somehow when you're exporting the documentation. And then we're going to go over here and we're going to get rid of this quantity because it's just one page. So probably you can have the quantity if you like. We're probably not that concerned with it though, if it's just one drawing. And we're going to kind of shorten this up. I'm going to get rid of this data footer actually because that's if you want information at the end of the report, and usually it's not used that much. You can use it if you want, but not used so much. Okay, and we're going to go to the end here, and I'm going to get rid of this part number and just make this, I'm going to call this notes. This can be for comments or anything like that, but notes is good because it's pretty generic field description. And the purpose for this is just in case you want to add anything extra. I like to make it as generic as possible, so that if you come to the end of a project or you're trying to fix up a drawing and there's some comments or just some piece of information that needs to be added to the drawing, you can add it there, and you don't have to think too much about what the field is called if it's quite generic, which note is quite a generic term. All right, so if we go here, I'm going to get away from this part reference and go up to function. Every device should have a function number 1. In order to exist. And I'm going to take remark. It's typical to take either remark or supplementary field number 1. I will choose remark here and press OK. And the reason I'm choosing remark is because if you go into the device in a project, you can go into the remark field and put a note there in case there's something you want to annotate to show up in the report here. Okay, and moving along, probably sometimes maybe wouldn't see the manufacturer in an instrument drawing, but we'll just leave it here for the time being. You could see that, but usually the type number would be enough. Anyway, but we'll leave that there for now. Okay, type number, we'll leave that. Designation 1, we'll leave that. And just if you're watching this at designation 1, that's a short description actually. And the description in EPLAN part is actually not really used coming out onto reports. You can have it come out on a report, but it's, from my experience, it's usually used for internal design information. Not all the time, of course, but that seems to be pretty typical. And then we have the device tag here. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of control how the text can go, but I'm going to do it in kind of a lazy way because I like to do things quick if they don't require a lot of thinking. And you can see we have this alignment box around here. I'm going to shorten that up, and I'm going to grab this and press X to keep it on the axis. Another little lazy trick. And then I'm going to grab this, and I want to make the rest use an alignment box. But instead of going into the properties of each one, I'm going to go up here to edit, and I'm going to go to copy format, and I'm going to grab these other texts here. Okay. And I'm going to paste format. There we go. And I'm going to make this device tag. Again, I'm going to hit the X-axis. I'm going to do the nice little lazy trick so I don't have to spend too much time on that simple task. And then I'm going to grab this, right click, move, hit X, keep it on the axis. Oops, sorry, hit X. There we go. And then put that there. I'm also going to go down here and put the grid on A. I want a nice small grid so that I can make the most out of the room on this page. There we go. And then move that slightly to the left there. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and move this short description, aka designation 1, right there. And then I'm going to move that. I want to get the most room here without getting it too crowded. Yeah, I'm going to make this slightly shorter. Okay, then I'm going to grab the type number here, move that along, X. Okay, it's probably enough, but it depends. Sometimes you can have quite long type numbers. Sometimes the Siemens type numbers can be a bit lengthy. Okay, hit X, manufacturer, hit X, drag that over here. Okay. Okay, that's enough for that because you have the manufacturer and then you have the long name of the manufacturer. So this will show the short name of the manufacturer, which should be 3 or 4 letters. And then we have this note that we put in there. And I hit X, drag that along. There we go. And usually I'm happy to kind of make this pretty short because it's a dynamic report too. So if it has a note, sometimes it's nice to have it stand out because it'll kind of jump. It'll skip a line and make the row a bit taller, so it stands out a bit if there's a comment. Up to you, of course. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and size this up a bit now. I'm going to choose stretch, and I will hold down Shift so I can grab anything that's inside of a grouping. It's there. Pull that back. Okay, and then we have our data area here. I'm going to pull that back. I'm going to grab this thing and stick it in the corner. Okay, there it is. Okay, let's see. I want to make it a bit shorter, actually. We just leave it like that for now. It's a little bit annoying that it doesn't line up with the line on the top, but it doesn't have to be perfect for now anyway. All right, so when I close that, it sees that the master data has changed. Do you want to update the open project, see system messages? Yes, I do, because I want to see this here now. So if I go up to Tools and I go to Update, there, and it updated according to how I fixed the form. If I right click, I want to stick this right in the corner so it lines up. There we go. Okay, but actually I don't see, yeah, we don't have so much part information here, so let's maybe dig into our macros here. If I update this report again, K1, no part information, okay. I like making videos where things aren't going right because if you're really working, they don't go right. So I think it's good actually. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go to my macro library and see if I can find another basic macro to pull in here that maybe has a bit of part information. I think a power supply probably should. And just a note too, you can actually just drag macro files into EPLAN if you want to. That's kind of nice. And if I hit X and Y, it'll go to the original place that the macro was made. Of course, we have the placeholder options to select things. Do I want to number it? Okay, sure. I'll number it for this one. I'm going to drag those back. Okay, so let's update the drawing now, see what we got. Okay, got more there. So in this example, it's not giving any part information because the parts for these macros are not there. So we're going to make it so, actually. So I'm going to copy that just like an Excel sheet. And if we look in here, there's nothing there. Actually, we'll just, instead of going to the data portal, just to be, we should actually do that. I know, I'm actually just gonna, I'll just pull apart from the devices in the parts database here. All I want to do is show that the list that we've made is actually working. So I'll get rid of this actually. Pull this in. And I'll update the report again. There we go. Okay, so now we have this breaker here. And as you can see, it's called Q1. I have that there. We have the short description, which is designation number 1 in the part. We have the type number, manufacturer, and the note here. As I said, that's a remark. So if we came here, a typical example would be if we go to the motor overload switch and we go down here to remark, we would say needs to be checked, for example. Okay, and if we update this again, there, it shows up there. So there we have our little embedded report now. So now we're going to go to the second phase of this, is that we're going to make an embedded report macro. And so there's a little something to really keep in mind here. We're going to make this embedded report macro, which is just an intelligent copy and paste. It's going to put this, if we make a new page, we can just pull this macro in and put it on a page, and it will report whatever's drawn on the page. And I will actually, I will make another page now just to show that. Let's call it example test. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and copy this. Actually, I'll go to the other page now. I'll drag this out here. Call this Q100. And we'll put the comment, new circuit breaker. Okay. So if I just copy this, I can paste it onto the page. And you can see it says Q1. It has the information from the other page. We want to hit an X and Y, put it there. It takes the new information, see Q100, and it also has the comment here from this one, new circuit breaker. Okay. Let's make the macro now. So if we take this and we right click, create macro, and we'll just call it embedded report macro, EMA, press OK. Let's see, does this show up in our, nope, doesn't show up there, but that's okay. So insert Mac, well, this is a compatibility. We won't do it that way actually, because it's probably going to be phased out after a while. So if we go to insert a macro now, I haven't updated it here, but we'll do it the way I mentioned here. If we go back, there we go, embedded report macro. We pull that in, hit X and Y, there it is. Okay, so there's our embedded report macro made. Now we're going to go to the last part here. And if we think about this in bigger terms now, so if you decided to use this solution and you were working on a bigger project, maybe, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, 50 pages, something like that with a significant amount of work, perhaps more, then you would be using copy and paste for many different things probably. So you might want to have a button for this macro here. And if we wanted to have that, my suggestion would be to have it on the home tab there, and then just go to right click, customize ribbon. Okay, and here's the home part there. And if we say new command group, then it puts a new command group, and we can call this we'll just call it macros. Okay, and we say insert macro. Embedded report macro.ema. Press OK there. And maybe I want to give it a little. Yeah, I'll just give it an R for report, for example. You can put whatever you want. Press OK. So there we have that. And just a little note here: if we want to save this, if we want to save, we don't want to lose this button. When we go to Edit Workspace and we go to Save, press OK. Opens the workspace one more time. There it is. So let's see if our button works. It does. Press X and Y. There it is. So that's the end of it there. So yep, that's it. If you have any questions or comments, then let me know. And yeah, hopefully that was helpful today. And have a great day.